Welcome to the toughest spinner build probably that anyone has. I came up with this idea when I was working on my lightsaber build and a couple other builds, and I just said, hey, why don't we flatten this PVC pipe or the shark bite pipe, put some washers in it, and there you go. It's really kind of nice. So I'll go through the build. What are you going to need for this build? Well, 1/2 inch PVC pipe or 3/4 inch. That's 3/4 inch, not 1/2 inch. See if I can get up real close on that. Shark bite pipe. Now the great thing about the shark bite pipe is that it has a very distinct color to it. It also comes in white, and I have some white that I'm going to work on for another build. And then you just need regular washers. 1 inch is the key here. You could do probably 3/4 of an inch, but 1 inch. Okay, and this one just happens to be 3/16. You can actually also use these kind of washers, like a 5/8 washer that has a bigger hole in it, and then it gives you a design like that. Okay. The other couple hints, basically the PVC pipe you want to cut to anywhere from 2.5 to 2 inches. But in the end, it's all pretty much around the 3-inch mark. This is slightly under 3 inches for smaller hands, and this is right at 3 inches. So whether you cut it at, so the sweet spot I found after I did several of these is about 2.25 inch on the pipe, and then just squeeze in the washers. On this first prototype here, I used quarters for the weights. You could use nickels, or you can just buy the washers. The washers are about 10 cents a piece. So let's get to the build. First thing you need to do after you cut the pipe, and I use this to cut the pipe. Another thing is you can toast the end of the pipe if you don't know what you're doing or not in good practice, and so you can actually make it a little longer, then cut off the pipe and have a nice clean edge. But I use this to cut the pipe, and then you have to flatten it. So, heat gun. This happens to be a Wagner heat gun. I bought this relatively cheap on Amazon, but you can also get it at Home Depot, maybe even Lowe's, and Walmart. And then I came up with this device to flatten it. Okay, used 5/8. I think that's a 3-inch bolt. Yep, 3-inch bolt right here. 5/8 3-inch bolt, and I made this. This is about 7 by 7, 1-inch plywood. You probably could use 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, and then just sandwich it down in there. If you don't want to go to that amount of detail, I've actually designed that for a couple projects that I'm working on, so I really wanted that. You can go with a really simple method of a coffee can, and in this case I just happened to find something that was available. It's just a regular terracotta tray. Okay, these are about, let me measure them, a little over 6 inches. And what you do is you can heat up the pipe, and then you put it in here. I put it in here, put it in there, and I actually stood on it and flattened it out that way, and then you'll get this nice flattened thing like this. Okay, so coffee can, terracotta, clay tray, and you're good to go. You really can't use a hair dryer, I don't think. You could it would take you forever, but this really works like magic. And then you don't want to have your hands too close, so I use this Phillips screwdriver just to kind of inside the pipe like this when I was doing it to heat it up, and then I would smash it down. All right, So that's how you smash the pipe down. And then after that, you got to get to the bearings. Now, I used originally when I was cleaning these bearings, you can use the bearings straight out of the box. I'm using reds because they're relatively cheap and they've got good ratings. Okay? These have been cleaned. What's cleaned mean? I take off the little red protected gasket or whatever around there. And I'm using, this is something that somebody told me about, left in one of my comments. I'm using isopropyl alcohol. You can use 70, maybe 90. Get in there. I used an old pill box, about that much, and you can just shake them around in there, take them out, and then I use compressed air to blow them out and dry them off so I can get them to go like this. I've basically run out of old roller blades. You can use old roller blade or inline skate wheels. So that's why the builds are probably a little more than $1, because you got about $1 invested in this piece here. The rest of it I had. This pipe runs, you can get a 5-foot section for less than $1, $2, or less than $2. This one less than $1 for a 5-foot section. Get a 10-foot section, it's even cheaper. So it actually, so a foot of this is about 60 cents. Okay. So anyway, use the sandpaper. You can see where I'm sanding this down if you want to get this off to make it clean. Flatten it out. And then I'm using a Fortner bit, 7/8 inch Fortner bit to drill the hole here. You can see that it's a little loose here. If you do something like I used a clear coat, see that's a little, let me use this one here. Okay, this one's without clear coat. This one is with a clear coat. So it gives a little extra shine. I put the washers in on the end, and then I left out the bearing race and then sprayed them up a couple coats, and it really came out nice. So it gives it a little extra panache. Okay. Here's I just put the bearings in. It's literally a couple minutes build. Okay, so anyway, so if you put a coating in like that, they have a tendency to stick really good. Here I actually painted. I used some regular paint. This is the gray pipe that I painted up. And you can see that came out pretty good. And you can use any color that you want. So there's the snazzy paint there. Or you can use super glue. You put that race in there. You can pressure them down. You can actually push, because these are in here free. You can see how they're sliding around. Okay, so you can sit there and you put that in there like that. Hit it with some, hit it with some super glue first around the edge. Slide the bearing race in. Press on the ends there, and you're probably good to go. All right. So a couple other things that I find handy is I use this all the time. I got this at Harbor Freight for $10, and it is the best deal I think I've had. I use this constantly to measure the inside holes, to measure where the center of the pipe is, so to make sure you get a good thing. The other thing I use is this. I don't know if anybody's seen these things, but you basically put it down on the pipe. Oof, man. Press down on it really good. It gives you a little dimple like that, so you can line up the sharp edge on the Fortner bit, and you'll assure yourself of as close as you can get to the center of the piece, so that you'll have a nice even spin. Okay, and then I use a clamp here. Sometimes this one was a little tough because it was painted up several coats of paint, and then you can actually put this in here, put it on a table edge, and you can mash the bearing down. You can also, since this is painted up a bunch of times, I actually use this to squeeze. It's not cooperating, but to squeeze that into place, because I wanted to get even on both sides the holes. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Comments and thumbs up are always welcome. Thanks.